Welcome back. Now, as water challenges surface across parts of the country, the private sector is keen on helping government tackle deficiencies by financing public water and sanitation projects. The big question is, where are the bankable projects for the sector to put its money in? Johann Lübbe, who's head of the Water Partnership Office, whose mandate is to facilitate private investment in water infrastructure projects, joins us now with more detail. Johann, thank you for your time and good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, maybe we can start off by understanding, when and the mandate of the Water Partnership Office, really, and the work that you're meant to do here in improving issues around water infrastructure.
Yes, so I think the challenge that we face is that in most cases municipalities are struggling with expertise, with funding to invest in and provide the services that they are supposed to do when it comes to water and sanitation. We know a lot of that expertise and the funding sits in the private sector. We know the private sector is often very keen to become involved and want to invest into water assets, but we don't have the projects, we don't have the bankable projects, we don't have the structures, the models, the mechanisms to allow us to match these two. And that's really where the Department of Water and Sanitation then said, how can let's create a program, let's create a vehicle, an entity that can assist us, assist government, assist municipalities, and create opportunities for the private sector to become involved. So we looked at the renewable energy program, took some of the lessons there and the key success factors of that, and then established what we call the National Water Partnerships Program, and with that the Water Partnerships Office was created. And as I said, with the mandate and the view to create opportunities for the private sector to become involved and support municipalities.
Yeah, the little that I know about the private sector is, of course, happy to invest, but also important for them to see a return. It means that we need to be able to model inflows and outflows in a way that is clear and that is also very predictable. I'm wondering if this is a challenge when it comes to water, and more so than it would be for energy projects and the likes.
You're 100% correct. I think energy is very different from water. In the energy space, people, if you don't pay, you're cut off. But water doesn't work like that. Water is a basic human right, and people expect to receive that service. So we have to look at the bankability. We have to look at creating revenue streams that will support those investments. And that is possible, but we know that the private sector wants those returns. They're not providing free services and free money. So part of the structuring and the design of projects is to look at those things, is to create the revenue streams, make sure that they are secure and sound. But it boils back to also people paying for services. And I think that's often a challenge. People think that they can, water should be free. Water is free, but we pay for, the treatment and the conveyance of that water to us. And that's where people will have to realize that, we have to pay for the service. It's a user pay service. And through those revenue streams that is generated will then support those investment in projects. So different categories of projects have got different models associated with them. And part of the work that we are doing is to structure those and to make sure that we can create bankable projects that the private sector will then be comfortable to invest in.
Another challenge, I guess, Johann, here, and I guess it's a chicken and an egg issue, is the fact that compromised infrastructure leads to wastage. And of course, you're trying to make sure the infrastructure is up to scratch, but you're also trying to fund the infrastructure at the same time. I'm wondering if this is a bit of a conundrum at this point also, because, of course, so much revenue is lost during wastage, but we need the money to kind of fix the issues around infrastructure to get rid of the wastage.
Yeah, that's 100% correct. I think one of the programs that we, for example, focusing on is a non-revenue water program. And that is to assist municipalities to reduce their losses, to improve revenue when it comes to water supply and water service delivery. As you would know from the no-drop reports of the Department of Water and Sanitation, some of the losses in municipalities ranges up to 50-60%. I mean, you cannot operate a business if you lose 60% of your revenue. So that program is one of our priority and focus programs. We want to bring the private sector in through performance-based contracts so that they can assist the municipalities to reduce those losses, reduce the physical losses, and improve collections, improve revenue, make sure that illegal connections are done away with, and people actually are billed and pay for the service. So and by doing that, you can, through those additional revenues and through the savings that is generated, you can repay an investment and make payments to those performance-based contractors. So that's one of the models and programs that we are also working on. But you're right, it's we have to almost address what is broken at the moment, but then also provide for future expansions and increase those service delivery levels.
Yeah, and also keen to get your thoughts here, just from water is concerned in South Africa at this point. Have we reached crisis level? Are we heading towards crisis level? And maybe how do we keep ourselves from finding ourselves, in a very scary place? Where I think water, like we've said, water is a very different animal to electricity. Without water, people die literally.
Yes. Yeah, I think there are a bit of warning lights going off. We have to be much more diligent in the way we use our water. I think people, we don't care if we lose water, because also, it doesn't hit our pockets. So we have to create that awareness within people, within the public, to start saving water and conserving water. I think as a nation, we are an extremely high user of water. And given that we're a water scarce country, it just doesn't make sense. So we have to start creating those awareness. People will have to start conserving water. We have to make sure that the losses are reduced. We have to also, on the supply side, start looking at providing more water into our supply mix. At the moment, I think our surface water resources are quite more or less, we have what we have. There isn't more development that can happen there. So we have to start looking at water reuse, for example, as one of the mechanisms, maybe seawater desalination at a larger scale. And those are all things that we have to start looking at and doing to make sure that we can address some of the challenges that we have. And I mean, we've already seen in some cases, localities, Cape Town, Nelson Mandela Bay, we're very close to a crisis in some of those areas.
Well, Johann, thank you for your time today, soberly reminding us that water is a finite resource there. That was the head of the Water Partnership Office, Johann Lübbe.